Oh shit.
Okay. Here. Oh. Okay.
Yes, we're starting with that.
Yep. 3, 2, 1. It's been a long time since we've done this.
My
a
man.
few months, and it's kind of my fault. But when Windows 10 updated, for some reason,
It messed with.
the voice recorder.
No, that's fine. But happy 2020.
Okay. Oh yeah, happy 2020.
Happy
This is the first time we're
2020,
doing this.
Lance!
This
Oh
is
my
super
God.
late. This is super late. But so hi, I'm Lance,
I'm Toby.
and we are the Downtime
Downtime
Dudes. We still got it. High five. Okay.
Still good. Still good.
And today, if you guys are reading the title card on the YouTube link, we're going to be talking about a movie that really shook us last year.
Yeah, definitely made a lot of top 3 lists for 2019 movie. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, and I think like this YouTube reviewer Jeremy Kahn saw this as his best movie of that year, and I can kind of see why. And 2019 was a great year for movies too.
Culmination of the 20-year saga of the Marvel Universe.
Was it 20? Was it 10?
20 movie.
Oh, 20 movie. Yeah,
10
okay, yeah,
year.
around that.
And then DC came in swinging with like
Shazam. Another good one was Lighthouse. And Parasite, which won Golden Globes for,
Yep.
which is a Korean movie, which we need to watch someday because it's really good. But among all of them, I think this one stood out because it was a weird comic book movie.
Well, yeah, and it made no expectations. You couldn't rate how well this was gonna do when the trailers were coming out. The trailer was just some dude smiling.
Yeah.
Do you remember that teaser trailer?
No, definitely. And when it first debuted in the cinemas as a trailer, I didn't even look forward to it. I thought, oh man, this is gonna suck. At first.
It's a comic book movie without a superhero.
No, it's more that
It's a comic book movie without a super villain.
It's more that
Right.
I felt that Joker did not need a backstory. And
Oh yeah,
part of what makes him so terrifying is how mysterious he is.
that's true.
That was my opinion anyway, but this was such a treat.
And
sorry.
that's how he's written.
Exactly, and not just that, but without going too much into spoilers yet, and honestly, it's X months old. You should really watch it. This is gonna have spoilers. It doesn't really show that this is the definitive backstory.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so Joker 2019 was directed by Todd Phillips and stars Joaquin Phoenix playing the titular role. Do you want to get started with how you feel about the movie?
Oh my god. Joaquin Phoenix stole the show. What can I say? Nobody has that already. If you guys want to know how the movie is, honestly, just watch it. It's probably available online by now, either through like legal or
Just legal. It's
Legal.
available through legal means, Toby.
legal.
We're not doing this.
But like how I felt watching it,
Yeah.
visceral, very attention grabbing. The pace was so good. Even
Yeah.
if it's not like an action movie, this thing grabs you by the throat and drags you along on this journey with he's only called Joker like twice, and every other time he is Mr. Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, it was definitely very uncomfortable to watch, and it's a movie that we talked about a lot after watching it, and
Yeah.
you watched it twice.
I watched it twice. Like, I feel like 2 weekends in a row. And the second time I saw it, having like seen it the first time, I started like noticing like the little things already. Well, that was because like I watched like maybe like a review already, and then I
Yeah.
watched it, and that's when you realize like, holy shit, he's laughing when nobody else is laughing, and then like stuff like that. Some things happen where you could be like, oh, he imagined that part with Zazie Beetz. Like now it's starting to come out the like seams.
Okay.
Like which parts are how the director artfully portrayed a scene, and which parts are like, this guy's just freaking crazy.
Oh yeah. Maybe we should do a quick summary of the movie and then contextualize it with our analysis.
Sure.
Okay, so this movie takes place, I think, they set it in the 1980s.
Yeah.
The 1980s, Gotham City, where Arthur Fleck, who is living with his mother, is a struggling comedian. He has a part-time job, his full-time job is as a clown for hire.
Yeah.
and he goes to shows, he holds out signs for shops, and he goes to children's hospitals and performs there. This entire journey is less of a hero's origin story and more of his own descent into madness. He starts off with that job, but slowly, as life treats him worse and worse, he evolves, I guess, into this being that makes him feel alive.
Yeah.
In all the and Joaquin Phoenix portrays him masterfully. From the way his body moves when he's by himself in front of the mirror while he dances, to the progression of how he moves up and down the now iconic stairway as the movie progresses.
Yeah.
You know, you can really see the changes.
He almost plays two characters.
He is playing two characters. Crazy.
He starts Arthur Fleck, ends the movie as someone completely different.
Yeah. So, living with his mother, a lot of the story ties into his relationship with the Wayne family. His mother used to work for the Waynes as a maid, and she really believes that Arthur is the love child of her and Thomas Wayne.
Right.
And when he confronts Wayne about this, however, he says that she's a lunatic and she's crazy, and the audience is led to believe that Thomas Wayne is this douchebag.
Yeah.
But later on, the twist is that she was crazy this whole time.
Yeah.
And she did not have Arthur with Thomas Wayne.
Right.
Meanwhile, he gets fired from his job because he brings a gun to the children's hospital, which was given to him by his co-worker to protect him from people after he found out that Arthur was jumped by bullies at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. So
this kind of made him snap a bit. Throughout the course of the movie, he engages with
Zazie Beetz' character. Let's not even remember her name.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, you don't even know her name, but
well, he has a crush on her that turns into something.
Yeah, and you see that later on in the movie, it is revealed that... Sorry, backtracking a bit. He goes to these comedy club shows, and he kind of brings her with him. But later in the movie, the biggest plot twist is apparently a lot of the scenes, her happier scenes in the movie, were actually fabricated by his fragmented psyche, you know?
Yeah. I think you're missing like a pretty big piece of the movie.
What's that?
Which is the Bob Murray show.
Sorry, go on. You should take this one.
Yeah. So it's like throughout the movie, there are multiple like scenes where he watches. Franklin Murray. Franklin Murray.
Yeah.
Like I could not forget that because like you're me and like Murray. So like the Murray Franklin show that he watches with his mom, it looks like it's their thing to do every night or whatever. Robert De Niro is Murray Franklin. He's like a late night talk show host, and he worships the ground that this man steps on.
Oh yeah, definitely. And in one of his fantasies, he even portrays Murray Franklin, who is played very well by Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
That as his father figure, he even says when he comes on stage, like, "I wish I had a son like you," or something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very clear from the very beginning that Arthur Fleck is a character who is looking for validation, looking to be seen. And everything he does is about grabbing attention, whether he thinks about it or not.
I could get behind that.
Yeah. So this movie was really riveting for me because it shows the descent in the madness of someone who could have been saved if if society had provided him with the means to combat his mental illness.
And they don't mince words about his illness. They show him in front of a psychiatrist, and he is in subtler means just begging for help. He's like, I need more because I don't want to have these negative thoughts.
Yes.
All I have are negative thoughts. Is there any way that I can get help? And he is just responded with, I'm sorry, the city doesn't care about you, it doesn't care about me, it's cut all funding. And it is very well, if just to contextualize, you could see that happening to anybody.
Yeah, Definitely, and I think this is one of the few movies that rightfully portrays someone with a mental illness as more of a victim, really.
Right.
Because I think in older comics, especially Batman comics, which is very notorious for this, it portrays people with mental illness as villains
Yeah.
and perpetrators. But I think that with when like in modern times,
Yeah.
we rightfully believe that people who have mental illness need help.
Right.
They're mostly the victims of violence and abuse.
Yes.
So I think this was a good starting point for it. And I am not endorsing Joker or Arthur Fleck as a good person, okay?
No.
He is definitely still a monster. And in that scene where he traps this midget in a room with the giant dude he just killed,
Yeah.
that had so much tension, it was crazy.
Okay, so let's go over it.
Sure.
I think you could see that from the start of the movie, Arthur Fleck is sort of portrayed as an everyman. I mean, given he has, his mental health issues, but I think he is an everyman. He struggles to pay the bills. He, is taking for his mother, and he's, just sort of feeling alone. And I'll just, to contextualize, the first violent act that he ever does is actually an act of self-defense.
Yes, it's when he finally snaps.
Well, he could have died.
No, that's true. Sorry, not snaps. But it's basically showing society actively pushing him to kill someone.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's almost as if they show you this morally ambiguous situation where you have to defend yourself. But his reaction afterwards is what characterizes him as a character, where he felt empowered.
Yeah. Okay. Killing the first guy was more of a gut reaction to protect himself. But
Yeah.
the way he killed the next two, he was hunting them.
Definitely.
Yeah, and he looked so comfortable. His stance changed. He's so much more confident. It felt like he was more him than he's ever been.
Yeah. And this sort of gun worship is not new.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
And it's true, he needed the gun to defend himself, but it doesn't, like we're saying, it doesn't justify killing all three of those dudes. And that is what sort of springboards the plot of the movie.
Yes.
By accidentally or intentionally killing those three guys on the train station. And media blows up his victims as people, as his, the people who were kicking him around as victims because they graduated from schools. They were Wall Street people.
Yeah.
It made this like thing where he got pushed the limit. Like, no, I'm the victim.
Okay. I think that bouncing off what you said.
Yeah.
I like and speaking of media rather, they interviewed Thomas Wayne, played by Brett Cullen, after that,
Uh-huh.
and he basically called everyone who does not have the means to make stuff for themselves clowns. And I think that's where it really started, this whole movement, where you suddenly saw protesters in the street dressing up as clowns,
Yeah.
and praising this guy who killed all these, the bullies who are traitors,
Yeah.
as they portrayed him as a hero.
There is a background class war that the movie doesn't get into. Arthur Fleck doesn't care. The character doesn't care. It just happens, but they ask him in the end, like, "Did you mean to start a movement?" And then Joker says, "Do I look like somebody who had a political belief?" So he doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's just that was the interpretation people had of his violence.
People saw themselves in him.
Right.
And I think that the visceral, actual bloody violence that he wreaked emphasized the systemic violence that the rich had on the poor in this show. There is actually a lot of scenes that depict how the rich and the poor live, particularly in the way they consume media. In both Arthur Fleck's and Thomas Wayne's depiction of media consumption, it shows them escaping from the world, as shown when Arthur Fleck has this fantasy when he watches the Murray Show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's always watching television with his mother.
Right.
That's usually the thing. Every time he watches a television screen, he escapes into that world where he could see himself being in the audience and being this guy's long lost son and stuff. But when you look at the rich, particularly how the Wayans watch cinema, it's always in a theater. It's always in a theater, and the theater in this case, as shown cheekily in the older Batman comics, represents the little bubble they live in, where they could ignore the problems of everyone else.
Right.
So it's very fitting that at the very end, when they leave the theater, they're exposed to danger, right?
Yeah.
And the whole Batman story begins.
It's not subtle, guys. Arthur Fleck literally looks at Thomas Wayne, who is the stand-in for the rich, says, "I am your kid," and the rich say, "No, you're not," and he punches him in the face.
Oh yeah.
Like that. There's no symbolism. This is like they're saying exactly what the movie is trying to say.
Yeah, and I think the movie was very popular and also very feared. But let's talk about that real quick. This movie was really controversial, despite it exposing the class war. People were afraid of it for other reasons. But let's talk about that former thing first. How did that make you feel, man? How do you take that since you watched it twice, I guess?
Ooh, wait, are you talking about people being scared about the violence that the movie was promoting, blah blah blah?
Okay, so the media has portrayed Joker in two ways. One is through sensationalist articles talking about how he's a hero for incel violence,
right.
And the latter showing how he's become a symbol for rebellion all over the world.
Yeah.
People in Hong Kong wore Joker masks. People in was it Chile?
Yeah.
They also wore Joker
anywhere
masks.
where there was a protest.
Anywhere in the world where there was a protest, they had this Joker mask. But the media had this phase where they were trying to scare people into not watching this movie for a while.
Oh man, that's rough. Because the thing with protest is I could see. I'll give you my 2 cents.
Sure.
The thing with protest is it's usually categorically non-violence.
That's
right?
not. I don't think that's true. I think you can have a violent protest.
Yeah. Well, the idea is you're not the instigator. Right?
Yeah, but it's in response to systemic violence.
Right. So, I can see why that Joker is a symbol of somebody pushed to the edge and has to push back from the rebellion side.
Yeah.
On the other side, this is the people who are like, there's nothing wrong, but there's somebody who is sick and decides to act on their worst impulses, which is also kind of true.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a touchy topic.
Yeah.
And if you have strong opinions on this, feel free to comment below and stuff. But okay, so yeah, I agree that Joker is a good mascot for these people because it's people who are pushed to the edge. But let's talk about, I don't know, I kind of want to talk about the controversial thing too.
Okay.
There was even an issue once by the U.S. military to beware of possible shootings that happened because of at theaters showing this movie. No, I mean, you saw that, right?
I did, and it's so annoying.
No, but I was so relieved that none of that happened.
None of that happened. I feel like a lot of people looking at it from face value could see this as sort of like a celebration of violence kind of thing, but it's really not. And every time something horrible is done, it is not shown to be an act of heroism, but you wouldn't know that before going in.
Actually, this is one of the few movies. Okay, just to spark the discussion, this is one of the few movies where I think violence is not celebrated.
No.
Endgame celebrates violence. Any movie with a military or let's say the U.S. depicting the U.S. military as good guys, and whoever they're fighting as bad guys, that celebrates violence. Yeah. Because every time you have an alien invasion movie, it's like, oh man, it's great that the U.S. has all these guns, right? So this is one of those movies that shows how utterly senseless and how it only really happens if you push people to the limits, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think this one celebrates violence.
No, but it does show that small acts of violence happens every day.
Oh no, definitely.
So that's like that's the reality of a lot of people, and I think this movie did a great job treating it with respect, but at the same time showing like the effects that it could have.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so given how people are taking Joker as a mascot right now, there are two different crowds that the media was portraying would take them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually wondering whether or not
It's rough.
the Joker actually had this pull for the incel crowd, you know? I actually think Rick from Rick and Morty has a bigger pull from the incel
Yeah,
crowd.
Rick. Do you know that meme where you have like pictures of these dudes like Tyler Durden, Rick, and then the Joker, and then it says like if you idolize them, you miss the point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like that picture. I think that's the exact thing. The thing is, I do consider it art, and if that is and as a piece of art, it's it's how it's understood by a certain audience and how it's understood by a different audience. It's hard to argue like which side is categorically right or categorically wrong.
So I don't know if it's right or wrong. I'm just trying to say I don't think the Joker served as some incel mascot after all that. You know?
I don't think so either.
Because if you compare Joker to Rick Sanchez is a power fantasy,
well,
right?
they were, to the media's like credit, they were saying that before Joker was coming out,
Yeah.
so nobody knew what was going on. A lot of Joker as a character has a lot of maybe baggage, I guess.
Yeah.
So you could kind of see where it's like, oh, don't make this guy the protagonist. Please don't give anybody a reason to relate to this guy.
Yeah, because when the trailers first came out, there was a lot of school shootings in the news.
Yes.
And it was like, oh man, we don't need another story of a disgruntled white person with a gun.
Exactly.
I know, it was really rough.
Right.
But,
But no one's saying that now.
well, okay. Yeah,
now
no
that
one's...
it's like now that he won Best Actor and all that.
Yeah, but they really grilled the director and Joaquin Phoenix, right? They
Yeah.
Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix about that.
But-
and one thing I liked about it was I don't think people related to the Joker or wanted to be Joker. People related to his pain. I don't think people wanted to be him. The movie did a very good job of kicking him down so much. It was not a power fantasy by any means.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the Joker was portrayed throughout the entire movie not having any control over any situation,
Yeah.
save that time he killed that dude and had that midget in the room,
Mm-hmm.
his midget friend, like that kind of detracted from that, you know, versus Rick Sanchez, for example. I'm
Right.
sorry I keep pulling him up. It's just
Yeah, no.
I want to make clear how happy I am that people did not latch onto this guy as some reason to go and shoot up school up, you know.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. Well,
It hasn't happened
it
yet.
hasn't happened yet, which is
Not on wood.
but it's once you watch it, I feel like it would completely change like how you feel about that aspect.
A lot of people I was looking at Facebook. A lot of people who gave the comments we talked about earlier, decrying it as some white straight guy fantasy thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were calling for the boycott of this movie.
Mhm.
Do you think that their fears were justified? Do you think? Because I don't know. I want to know what you think first.
I don't think so. Art should be able to stand on itself without the baggage of like whatever you're putting into it before you even consume it. Well, that's like how I saw the movie.
Yeah.
But if anybody sort of feels that way about the Joker, I would blame other portrayals of the Joker rather than, because this could have been a Martin Scorsese. It is a Martin Scorsese movie. It could have been Taxi Driver, and nobody would have reacted that way.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
I guess it's. I think it's because of the climate right now, man. Like
Yeah, maybe.
so many. There's so many shootings in America. It's like the weather there.
Yeah, you mean if, for example, like a lot of comparison has been drawn between like Taxi Driver or American Psycho. If those came out again today,
Yeah.
I don't think it would have gotten the same reaction as Joker. It's just that the way the Joker looks like in mass media, where he has a bunch of grenades strapped to his fucking like jacket or whatever,
Okay.
which is in the other movie, the way he uses like machine guns and stuff. This one, he didn't even have any of that.
He had a pistol.
Yeah,
That's
just-
pretty much it.
Yeah, he just had a pistol and some bullets.
A pistol that was given to him by a guy who denied giving him the pistol when he was caught after he dropped it in the
Yeah, the
children's
real
hospital.
problem was the other guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, so that's my, I guess, kind of not response of saying that it wasn't really justified, the sort of hysteria. I feel like some movies are more violent than this.
There are a lot of movies more
Yeah.
violent. Yeah,
With worse messaging.
definitely.
So I feel like this movie, well, it's being properly recognized now.
Yes, I thought it was a beautiful movie, and I think I walked out of the theater with you and thought, if Joaquin Phoenix doesn't get any kind of acting award, then I know that everything is just rigged.
No, but you know what? The benefit of us doing this review in 2020 is we know that we know that he got the reward.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, Toby wanted to do a review of this after it came out, but that's when the voice recorder thing conked out, and I got really busy with stuff.
That's fine.
I think this became relevant again when Joaquin Phoenix won Golden Globes.
Yeah,
So
well deserved.
yeah, we just wanted to talk to you about it with you guys. And sorry.
I have one more question before we go into that. A lot of the writing of the origin of the Joker has mostly been, what's the name of that comic with the Red Hood and everything?
Yeah, the Red Hood.
Yeah, and the whole premise of that entire comic is it only takes one bad day. This doesn't happen over one bad day. It's multiple punches very brutally to the face.
Yeah, you could really say that Arthur Fleck was being deconstructed throughout the whole movie. He didn't even know who his father was. He didn't even know his mother had been lying to him the whole time.
Yeah.
Every source of affection he'd ever gotten had betrayed him. And it's damn tragic. I wouldn't wish his life on anyone, really.
Yeah.
But
You don't have to.
well, yeah. Yeah.
Like, he exists. It's a call to help for mental health.
People who need mental health.
People who need mental health
Care.
care.
Yeah.
It's a call to, improve on, and I don't want to get political, but like gun safety. This guy was given a gun in a paper bag, man. No
Oh, yeah.
man diagnosed with mental illness should be able to acquire.
Yeah, this was in the 80s though. I don't know if
Yeah.
that changes anything.
No,
but
it does, but it gives you a glimpse back, right?
that's true. See,
That's like one of the powerful things about dated movies.
but the other problem we have is this, and I'm going to do this as devil's advocate. He would not have been able to defend himself with a gun. The problem the debate is about gun violence. And oh my god, we are going super far off, and people will hate some arguments that we're about to make because gun ownership is a touchy issue.
Yeah.
Is whether or not a gun is good is based on who gets to hold it.
Mm-hmm.
A gun in the hand of a guy who's trying to mug someone is bad, but a gun in the hand of someone who is about to get mugged is good, right?
Yeah. Well, we can ask the girl that the guys were harassing just before they attacked Arthur if
Yeah.
she feels the same way.
Right.
So, I understand that, it's sort of weird, but at the same time, that's what escalates the entire, movie.
Yeah.
That's what raises the stakes. I know, like, he used it to defend himself,
Yeah.
but it was also used irresponsibly.
Well,
That's one way
isn't
to put
the responsible way to use a weapon to defend yourself?
it. Is, but for me, my understanding is if I were to, for example, try to purchase one, I would have to receive mandatory training, certification, other forms of how to responsibly treat this thing, to respect it, and all of that. This man did not respect that's one of the things, right? Where
Yeah.
you respect your firearm. You only pointed at things you intend to destroy, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, he shot the wall the
Yeah,
first time
exactly,
he got the
exactly.
gun.
It's just like you don't play with it, things like that.
Okay. One of the things that in relation to that, the thing that made me scratch my head about this, and I still think about it to this day, is would he have been better off if he had not been given the gun? See, that's controversial.
Yeah.
Because
He'd be dead.
if he represents the everyman who's being abused by the rich, the gun, in some ways, some people would interpret it as, I saw a review on this, the gun represented a means for him to fight back.
Who's that? Carl?
What?
Is Carl calling from his grave? Karl Marx?
What do you think? No, seriously, but what do you think, though? Because
Yeah.
this is controversial. Like,
Yeah,
and
I get it.
Yeah, but if you stop him from having the means to defend himself, those bullies might have just killed him in the subway.
No. Like, I know I made a joke about communism, but it is written in the U.S. Constitution that people are allowed to own guns so that they may overthrow a sort of oppressive regime.
Yeah.
But, that's what he had.
Yeah.
But what happens when the system works for itself and not for the people who are,
Yeah.
hurt?
Yeah, that's why this is so topical. Because even though this is set in the 80s, this is how everyone feels now. People aren't happy being... A lot of people aren't happy being under Trump.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't happy with a lot of populist presidents,
Yeah.
right? So this Joker movie, I think, captures a lot of that frustration.
It's not set in this time, but it says a powerful message about the current world we have today, which is what makes it such a good,
Yeah.
movie. It doesn't talk about anyone. It's really easy to make a documentary. Like, if Todd Phillips had some weird vision about a message he wanted to say, he could have made like The Inconvenient Truth 3. But no, he did this, and I feel like he's trying to say something, and he's letting the art speak for itself.
Yeah. Actually, there was a lot of showing, not telling, which I like.
Yeah.
I thought the cinematographer... I think Todd Phillips did an amazing job. Every shot was really fun. Man, like... And even down to the point where when the Joker was being most himself, he took up more space on the screen. It showed him being more, larger than life. I like those little
more
flourishes.
colorful. He is easier to spot. He walks more confidently. The whole thing just... And the first shot, and this is like one of the things like that I do know about cinematography, is the first shot where he comes out fully dressed up is a shot where he's walking and he's shot from below.
Mm-hmm.
So tilting up to make somebody look taller or
Yeah.
big, and it's like empowering. And I think a lot of the movie is hunched forward with a straight or even downward angle because everyone in this movie is like taller than Arthur Fleck for some reason.
Yeah, definitely. Man, we can't talk about this movie without talking about that laugh.
Man, it's so good.
It's depicted as a mental condition, right? It's a physical condition.
Physical
of his
condition of his.
to laugh like that. But every time he laughed, he was so in pain.
Okay, so it was an angle that I've never seen before where the Joker had the mental illness to laugh when he is nervous or scared or otherwise.
He just can't control
He
it.
just can't control it. But just like, and I think this is where the masterful bit comes in. My other favorite Joker, Mark Hamill, famously said that he kind of keeps multiple laughs for the Joker. He has like the really loud one, then the really like creepy, like just
The
giggle, and then there's when he's like diabolically planning something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like this one had tones to it.
Definitely. But I think it perfectly captured the way it wanted to depict society. Because a laugh is meant to show that you're happy.
Yeah.
And he was laughing. And society is supposed to take care of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it basically has all the trappings to represent something good. But it comes out, it's wrong. There's a very deep wrongness that just kind of chills you, man.
Yeah.
And I love this movie.
I love it. And it seemed like a lot of other people did.
Yeah, so let's see how well it did, actually. So we've had a few months, so it's already out of the cinemas, so it's had its fair run.
Yeah.
How much did it make? Oh, wow. You wanna do
Okay,
this?
so worldwide gross in the box office. Now, this is not uncommon to cross the billion mark in a movie nowadays. But for this movie, on 55 million to make 1,066,000,000,
Yeah.
that's insane.
So it
And
made,
it's an R-rated film.
oh, actually, yeah, that's really important. It's an R-rated film that made more than 1 billion worldwide, 334 million domestically in the US, and 732 million internationally.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's not new. Deadpool has done the same thing, but this didn't, advertise like Deadpool did. It doesn't have the same pull, and it's a superhero movie without, it's a comic book movie without, heroes.
Yeah, Deadpool didn't do quite as well.
Deadpool 2, could you check?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because it probably did a little bit better.
Box office.
So that's like a huge
Oh no!
Oh my god!
No, it did not. It destroyed these two movies. Well, not destroyed, but
Okay, so we're just looking up the Deadpool and Deadpool 2 stats. It only made about 750 million worldwide. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
they made less than 800 mil each. But look at the numbers, though. It made more domestic. It made more. Well, Deadpool 1 made more domestic.
Yeah.
But both Deadpool and Deadpool 2 did not make that much in the international scene.
Yeah.
But the Joker,
Crushed
Joker,
it.
2019 crushed it in the international markets. And you brought this up earlier. It
Yeah.
even outpaced another movie very related to this.
The Dark Knight. Okay. I did not know until we checked it today, but I had an inkling.
Yeah.
Okay, so previous to, let's just say, Joaquin Phoenix. So previously to that, you had the previous Joker was Jared Leto. We can just skip over that. Can we please skip over Jared Leto? Just pretend it never happened. And you go right back to The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger as Joker. And at the time, this was groundbreaking.
Yes.
Every movie wanted to be The Dark Knight. And Heath Ledger was the Joker. And I think it still is for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think that with his very unfortunate, untimely death,
Yeah.
it kind of gave the Joker this sort of mystery because you couldn't interview him after,
Yeah.
right? You couldn't ask him what his process was or anything because that role consumed him.
And if acting as a Joker had any contribution at all to his sort of mental deterioration, man, but the presence he brought to that gosh darn movie, man, it was insane. I don't think we can make a Joker review without just talking about how game-changing Heath Ledger was.
We can. And Joker has had many iconic representations, but what's cool about this is they're both Joker, but they're very, very different.
Very different. As far apart as him and Nicholson.
Yeah.
It's so different. But each one is just as powerful as the rest, except Jared Leto.
Yeah.
So for a Joker movie to outpace in revenue a Batman movie with Joker that was a sequel of a very successful Batman Begins, that blows my mind.
Yeah, actually, for a Joker movie to be more popular than a Batman movie, or to do better in the box office is pretty crazy.
Did you see that coming at all, my friend?
I did not. I did not expect this movie to be as big a hit as it was. And that was despite all the controversy. The Dark Knight did not have this kind of flack.
Did you think the controversy could have maybe propelled it a little bit?
It definitely made me a lot more curious about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there are a lot of things in this world I don't like, but I want to see it first.
Yeah.
I want to make sure about. It intrigued me. It made me wonder whether or not the message it was sending was really going to be that dangerous.
Yeah.
And I just got out of that movie thinking, man, we should be better people.
Yeah, but hey guys, we're not talking as if Dark Knight didn't have that kind of sorry to say controversy, because when it came out, we were already rest in peace Heath Ledger.
Oh, yeah.
We already were oh my god, this is the performance of a lifetime. And if you can check right there, it says Dark Knight was PG-13, man. That was a pretty violent movie, and that was PG-13, and it still didn't make as much as Joker. I can't get over this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, seriously. And
Since then, Joker has won, I think, a Best in Screenplay. I agree heartedly. Best Original Score in the Golden Globes. Sure. I mean, do you know of anybody who could have deserved that more? Maybe
Okay.
Avengers. I don't know.
okay, so reading down the line for the awards. So it got the Golden Lion in 2019. It got, yeah, like Toby said, it got 2 Golden Globe Awards, one of which was the original score. The other one was the very well-deserved Best Actor Award for Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh
Slow clap.
my gosh.
He also got the Critics' Choice Movie Award for Best Actor.
Yes.
And it won, it also got the Critics' Choice Award for Best Score. Oh yeah, so 3 awards for Best Score.
There's something about that score.
Yeah, Critics' Choice, Satellite Award, and Golden Globe. And the Satellite Award also awarded it for Best Adapted Screenplay, and I honestly don't know enough about screenplays to say, but it was a good movie, so what can I say?
Well, the cinematography was amazing. The
Yep.
color popped. If you ever watched a Marvel movie and felt like the colors were a little bit muted, this movie does not have a problem with that.
Yeah, and well, the movie, the colors were, I think, intentionally kind of dull.
Yeah,
But
like
the Joker dresses up in really flashy clothes, which goes into that very big theme of being seen.
Mhm.
In every one of his fantasies, he's always obsessed with being seen, standing out,
yeah.
being noticed. He wants his dad to see him. He wants his idol to see him. He wants his mother to look at him, but in every conversation he has with her that's meaningful, she's not looking at him.
Man, the movie, speaking a bit about the set design, which is part of like the directorship. Every movie, every time you're in one like a small place like the hospital,
Yeah.
or their apartment, it looks so dirty, it looks so grimy, it looks so run down. And everything, for the most part, I guess you can say the movie is really well muted. But the moment you get into the subway, you get into the public spaces, it's so loud. You have all the city noises, and it's so blaringly obnoxious. It's got that big city feel,
Yeah.
and it sets you. A lot of people say this about previous Batman movies, where they say Gotham City is a character in itself.
Yeah.
This movie, Gotham City does not fuck around.
Oh no, definitely not. Actually, it makes me then wonder whether or not the Batman is the right answer for Gotham's problem, because it's basically a rich guy who can afford all these weapons, beating up people like the Joker, who in this timeline or this
Yeah.
universe are depicted as victims.
You know what? I feel like a lot of people get that a lot. In the like 80s to 2000s, the Batman was mostly like, let's punch some bad guys. But after that, writers got smart and were like, that's not really the best way. So they made Bruce Wayne a little bit more philanthropic with his sort of stuff.
Yeah, but
But still,
but the fact that he puts them in Arkham Asylum means that it's a rich dude dressing up like a marsupial who goes around beating up mentally ill people.
yeah.
Right?
Well, it's a categorically wrong representation of mentally ill people. So it's sort of wrong on both ends of the spectrum.
Definitely.
But let's leave the Batman writers do the Batman thing. Whoever wrote Joker and put this up, and the whole team and the whole cast and crew who made Joker, kudos, big kudos. This was so good.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, highly recommend you give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay. So here's like my only warning, which is it's so good, watch it, but this is not casual viewing.
Yeah, actually, if you have, you definitely have to put a giant trigger warning on this. If you are kind of, how do I say this? If mental health issues is a sensitive topic for you, maybe you need to get a lot of. If you really want to watch
Yeah.
it, still you might need to have someone with you.
Well, yeah, but R-rated is supposed to be where you have these themes.
Oh, that's true.
Deadpool had like the body horror
That's
angle
true.
and all of that other stuff. Like,
That,
human trafficking. So it's like this is the space for it.
Actually,
But I don't mind putting Deadpool up on a Sunday afternoon and I didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
I just wanted to watch a movie. I would not think Joker. I'm just like, hey Lance, you want to just watch Joker this afternoon?
probably not.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of celebrating violence, Deadpool celebrates violence.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, people dying is a punchline in that movie, and it kind of reflects things that are a bit messed up about society. But then again, that's most of the media we consume.
As a sort of like last bit of like coloring on our review, in the sort of landscape of superhero movies that we are just bombarded with, how do you find Joker? Was it refreshing? Well, of course it is, but like, did you feel like a little bit of meta is in play where people are like, we're sick and tired of the same formula, let's make something? I mean, this movie comes from the ashes of a failed DC extended universe.
Okay, one, I don't think this should be shown as a superhero movie. And I don't think they should make a sequel. I don't think they should include this in any part of the universe.
Yeah.
The way this movie was done was really good on its own. Just let it end there.
Yeah, don't...
Unless they have something really meaningful to say after that, which I highly doubt, let it end there. I can kind of see why Jared Leto was mad that they replaced them with another kind of Joker, but this feels like its own project.
Yes.
And sorry,
go.
Okay, and are we going to ratings already?
Well, no, it's just
Not yet, okay.
going on this a little bit of topic. DC did greenlight this in
Yeah.
the midst of so many projects that I was working on. Aquaman, Shazam,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 84,
Super hyped for that.
Birds of Prey. For this to sneak in, I had no idea they were capable of something like this. Somebody with a vision, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Joaquin Phoenix was the right choice.
But, yeah.
I don't think Joaquin Phoenix's character Arthur Fleck would be good in like a Marvel Cinematic Universe style thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Which is why it sort of digs for me. Which is why this movie is even better, because it's groundbreaking. You add points for being, for breaking the mold, because it's a risk where DC did not have to take any.
Okay, another funny part about it, and speaking of extended universe, another
Yeah.
funny thing is there are people who think, and I actually think, that this is not the Joker from Batman, because this Joker is about 30 to 40 years older than Bruce Wayne. So I think that this Joker is not the same Joker. So I think that when Bruce Wayne grows up, he will face a different Joker. Because he's going to be a senior citizen by the time Bruce Wayne gets to the prime of his life after being traumatized over his dead parents, right? So I think that they're going to have to pull a lot of stops for a quote-unquote extended universe.
Just real quick, as a question to that.
Sure.
Did you wish they didn't include that scene where Martha and Thomas got gunned down?
No, I thought it was a good way to end it, because in a weird sort of way, it needed to show that it was related. I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. That's why I think this movie should be a standalone. Did you like its inclusion?
Well, I felt like it was garnishing.
Okay.
It didn't serve anything greater. Well, because it's in the end. So, if they didn't show it, cool. If they just showed them coming out of the cinema, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't have to show the bang bang all over again.
Yeah.
Like, it could have just been alluded to, but making it so hard like connected, I don't know.
Okay.
Plus, I really don't know how to think about any of the continuity of this movie, given that it's so unclear which of it is real and which of it is just this guy believing in nonsense.
That's probably my favorite part about it, because at one of it, earlier in this review, I didn't like how the Joker was going to get a definitive origin story. The fact that it's still ambiguous makes me happy.
It's so good.
Because the Joker for me isn't a character or just a character. He's a force of nature. And he is everyone and anyone who thinks they are him. And the fact that it is ambiguous for me is perfect. Well, that's just my take.
No, agreed. I think fans of the character were done justice. Movie fans are gonna get a treat,
Yep.
Casual moviegoers are probably the people who are most left in the middle section. And then at the bottom of the sort of like spectrum are just people with triggers with this sort of like messaging.
Well, no, I think the people on the bottom of the spectrum would be the ones who don't watch it.
Because they miss out.
They miss out. And if you're too young, don't watch this. But, it's a great movie.
Okay.
I think that's what I don't know. I feel like that's all I've had to say.
That's all I got.
No, one more thing.
Yeah.
Out of 10, we have to do this.
Okay.
What? Come on, we always do this.
Okay.
Out of 10. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. What did we say was a 10 before again?
A perfect movie.
A perfect movie. And what was the movie we had as a benchmark for 10?
Bro, you know what the crazy thing is? For me, I thought it was The Dark Knight.
Oh no! Oh no! But this is a different movie though. It's not really an action. It's not an action movie.
No. But it's on the same spectrum, right? Dark Knight is so tight. Like the storytelling is tight. The directorship is so tight. Characterization of the character is so tight.
Is this a 10 for you?
There's no for me. So you start at 10, then you subtract.
Okay.
So, are there any wasted scenes? Me, I don't think so. Are there any people who didn't bring their A game for the acting gig? Not really. Like everybody brought their A game, even if they were like
Side characters.
He spent a lot of time with Arthur Fleck. He was amazing. I feel like the awkward emotion you feel in your seat when you're watching this movie makes the experience even stronger while you're watching it.
Okay, yeah, definitely lots of shock.
Can you go first?
Okay. If I had to give this movie a rating, this is me talking 3 months after I've seen it. I don't know, 2 months, I guess, after 3 months after I've seen it, because it came out in October.
Yeah.
I'd have to give this thing... I'd have to give this thing a 9.
Yeah.
I'd have to give it a 9. And I don't think it's because of any particular flaw, but it's that I liked other movies more.
Mm-hmm.
It's more that, and of course we're not professional film critics, right?
Yeah, no.
This is just
okay,
for
so
the lulls.
like
But
just as a sidebar to everyone, this is not an objective rating. This is totally our opinion. You don't need to agree. If you disagree, we want to know why. Please tell us in the comments.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But,
you know what? Okay, I'll give it a 9.
Okay, because of your mentality of deducting every time there's a flaw, why is it a 9?
Yeah, I feel like the movie in itself is very self-aware and contains the story in this very small bubble, where past that it doesn't set up a sequel, it doesn't try to do anything different. It's a very solid movie. That's what I like about it. The performances were good. The only reason this isn't like a perfect movie for me is because I cannot say wholeheartedly that I would enjoy watching it again.
Oh, well, you watched it twice, so that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
You know what I mean? I'm deducting replayability. I could not be stuck on an island with this movie.
Okay, but for the record, a 9 is a pretty high score for us.
9 is super high.
I think it is. I actually like this movie more than Endgame. And Endgame has that scene where Captain America gets the hammer, and I still watch it on YouTube once in a while to feel hype. Like, you're sad, you're like, oh man, Avengers Assemble. Like Endgame had very strong beats for me, but I actually felt that, for me at least, this was my best movie of the year.
Yeah, you know what? Movie to movie, this beats Endgame. It's just that Endgame has that whole momentum going for it.
Yeah.
So, you give it a plus because it's got 20 movies of setup, but movie to movie, I will say this is a better made movie.
I agree. All right, so
oh my god, that was
Yeah.
What a ride.
I know. And we're doing another recording after this.
Oh, shoot. Guys, Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a great time during the holidays. Currently, as we stand, as we're recording this, a lot of people in several parts of the Philippines are experiencing a sort of calamity crisis because of
definitely.
Taal volcano exploding.
Yeah, the ash falls.
The ashfall is crazy. Guys, please cover up as best as you can. I said this on multiple sort of like platforms. The standard sort of surgical mask isn't gonna do it for you. Please wear either an, I believe it's called N95 or any. The one I'm using is from I believe Miniso or Mumuso.
Right.
It's a cloth sort of reusable. What do you call it? Air filter, and then you can sort of insert an air filter, which is like a PM25, which is supposed to be able to be good for, I quote, fine particulate matter.
And if you are a business owner or in any position to tell people what to do in your line of work, be understanding if they can't make it to work. No, seriously.
No, seriously.
Because
I have to go to work today.
No, this thing causes lung scarring, man.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. My employer decided to tell us, just don't come to work.
Okay, so all of the people who are hoarding freaking masks, shame on you.
Don't do that.
Everybody doing their best to help others. You guys are the real heroes of the day.
Yep. And that was our review of Joker 2019.
Oh my god.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Yep. Where we cover a review of a game that we're currently addicted to or that we're enjoying very much, but it's also very controversial.
I agree.
Controversial in a different way.
All right. So I hope you guys stay tuned and join us in the next one where we review Pokemon Sword and Shield.
All right. Thank you. That's a wrap.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.